Hey everybody, glad to have you on the show. Sorry about the delay from before. You know, sometimes things happen and you don't know why. So anyway, we had to reboot everything and start all over. Glad to have you with us on the show today. Appreciate you being here. For those of you who joined me earlier and experienced all the technical difficulties, I'm sorry. Hey, we're going to be talking about 8 tips to find your own GPS. That is your guidance performance system. There's a lot of things in our world that we just get slammed up against, we run into, we get stuck, we feel frustrated, we don't know how to go around it, we don't know how to get over it, we don't know how to go through it, we don't know how to go under it, we just kind of just there, and oftentimes we just get lost in our own stuff of life. You ever been lost in your own stuff of life? I remember the first time I got lost, right? You know, I got lost. Now, I don't get lost very easy, but I remember the first time I got lost. Maybe you've been lost before. Maybe you've been in one of those situations where you just couldn't quite figure out which way to go, right? Well, I've been there, okay, and I know you've been there. I remember when I was in Boy Scouts, we got a call one day, and we were asked to come do a search and rescue for a pilot who had bailed out of his plane and was lost. Hey, Lillian, glad to have you on the show. And what happened in that is we were given coordinates and a map and a grid and a compass, and we were to go find this pilot. And so the pilot was lost, and it was one of those things where we had the outline of the map, right? We had a compass, and we had a grid to work from. And so all we had to do is figure out how are we going to go about dividing this map grid up into a way to find the person. And that's what we did. We decided on how that we would go straight across to our end coordinate, then cut it back across at a diagonal to the other corner, then walk across to the middle and come back through, and that would help us gain the quickest amount of territory, the fastest, and find the person. Well, guess what? We found them. We found them in the second crossover. We found the pilot. Of course, it was a dummy hanging in a tree because they were giving us an exercise, how do you find a lost person? But you know, if that had been a real person, we'd have found them just as easy, because we had a system to work by. We had a guidance performance system. Now, this was back before satellites and tracking and all that. It was just a compass and a piece of paper and 3 guys with a plan. That's what we were taught to do. I could do that today without a GPS, without a global guidance system. I could do that, you know, because there's a way to do that. So, hey, glad to have you on the show. Appreciate you being here, joining us today. We're going to talk about 8 tips about finding your own guidance performance system. And hopefully we can share that with you today. So if you're coming on the show, if you're on one of my other channels, you can catch me live on my profile over there, and you can comment below. Of course, I encourage you to do that. Comment below today's sector, and that'll just kind of, you know, put us in a situation where I can see your comments and follow along with you. Like earlier, Lillian said hi, and we say hi back to Lillian. And Linda Burton was on the show earlier, and Fernando Rubio was on the show earlier. And so we encourage others of you that were on the show earlier to be sure and do that. So let's talk about this guidance performance thing. Let me bring up the slides, and we'll get started, right? So here we are. You know, how do you find out where you're supposed to be, right? How do you find out where you're supposed to be in this whole process of what's going on, right? How do you find that? Hey, Barry, glad to have you on the show today. You know, this whole process of performing a certain direction and taking your life a certain way. Well, I think there's 8 things you have to talk about. First of all, I think you have to figure that out. So why do we talk about it? Why do you need a personal or business or spiritual guidance performance system? Well, it's what I call is everyone has a hand in the face. Everybody has this. I don't know what it is for you. It could be a personal issue. It could be a financial issue. It could be a relationship issue. It could be a contract that's laying on your desk and you don't know how to fulfill it. It could be personnel issues, employee issues. It could be economic issues. It could be government issues. It could be mental issues. In other words, you just can't quite figure out what do you do next. It could be a system. It could be like for me earlier, my hand in the face was my computer needed to be rebooted because somehow or another it was creating a glitch, and so I had to do this all over. Okay, well, fortunately, I kind of had a way to figure that out. But everybody has a hand in their face, everybody, and about something, and so how do you get around that? Because when the hand is in your face, you can't see anything but the hand in your face. I don't care what's right here or over there or over there or over there. It doesn't matter. When this is here, that's all you can see. That's all you can see. How do you get around that? How do you get past that? How do you navigate past that, right? Everybody has a resource shortage in something. Everybody has one. Okay? Maybe it's time, maybe it's energy, maybe it's personnel, maybe it's product, maybe it's conversations, maybe it's a network. Everybody has a resource shortage in something that is keeping you from taking the next step. If you're a writer, an author, it could be words or ideas or comments. Or if you're like on a show like this, it could be number of people watching, or it could be your computer resource, or your camera, or a microphone, or bad sound. Everybody has a resource shortage that has to be overcome. Okay, and sometimes because you have that shortage, you can't figure out how to get past it because it's like you carry it everywhere you go. I mean, it's like it's stuck right there on the end. It's like a zit. It's like fixing to go on a date, and all of a sudden you wake up and there's a big old pimple right there, and there's nothing you can do about it. Right? There's nothing you can do about it, and so doesn't matter what cream you put, it's just there. You have to deal with it. Sometimes we have those kind of shortages. Everybody has a challenge that needs to be resolved. Everybody has them. I don't care whether you're Mark Zuckerberg or Bill Gates or the guy that's standing down on the corner with the sign trying to earn enough money to get trying to get his next meal or find a place to live. Everybody has a challenge that needs to be resolved. The problem is for us is we have to understand, how do we get past that? What are some guidance what kind of guidance do we need, right? What kind of guidance do we need? So I'm going to talk about 8 things that you can kind of look at, 8 tips to get a personal guidance system in whatever area of your life is. Maybe it's personal, maybe it's relationship, maybe it's business, maybe it's a spiritual thing. We just came off of Easter, big spiritual holiday. Maybe there's some questions that you came out. I raised one yesterday about, I wonder how people who don't understand the idea of Easter, how they try to put together colored eggs, a giant Easter bunny, a cross, and a tomb, and what all that has to do with each other. See, that could be an issue for somebody that has to be resolved. That's a spiritual issue. So maybe it's a business issue. You're trying to figure out, how do I go to the next level, or how do I get this thing started? Or if you're a speaker, maybe you need somebody like Barry that's on the show here to tell you how to get that next gig, and how to get in speaking in front of the people you need to speak in front of, right? Or you're like Lillian on here, and you're one of those people who can give people guidance and direction by speaking into their life. Okay, I don't know. Or maybe you're like one of the pastors that's on the show right now, that you need spiritual guidance, and they can help.